Hello friends, and welcome to this SQL tutorial for data analysis and software development for absolute beginners. In this tutorial we are going to discuss about null functions in SQL. The null functions in SQL actually return an alternative value if a value is null in any particular column. So there are three null functions that we are going to discuss here. First function is IFNULL function. It takes two arguments. First argument is the name of the column, and second argument is the alternate value that we want to display. Then second is this ISNULL, and it will again take the same arguments, and then we have NULL function. IFNULL function works with MySQL, ISNULL function works with MS SQL, and NULL function does the same job for Oracle. Now we have examples for MySQL and MS SQL. So first I will show you an example for MySQL here. So in MySQL I have a database called DB School. In this DB School I have a table called staff_tbl. In this staff_tbl you can see that we have name, phone and email here, and actually the value of this email has some null values here. So in this column you can see for some particular students or some particular staff members we have null values of email. So this particular query, so instead of displaying null in results, we can display anything like NA or not entered or not available or anything here. So let's say select name, comma phone, comma if null email, comma NA from staff table. So I will explain this query here. So go to SQL. So now you can see select name, comma phone, and the third column is actually written as if null email, comma NA. So in place of the third column we have written if null, then name of the third column that you can see here, email, and then we have written the value that we want to write instead of null values, and then from staff_tbl. When you will execute this query you will see that we are getting those values here, but instead of null values we are getting NA. We have null values in phone also, so let's try to edit that. So instead of phone we can write if null in phone, then instead of null write not entered, and then execute it. So now you will see that if the value is null in phone we will get not entered. If the value is null in email we will get NA. But you are seeing here that the column names that we are getting here are if null, so we are getting the function names in the result also. So we can use the alias, so as phone and as email. So we can use these alias to ignore these values, and now you can see that we are getting phone and email in the values. So this is a modified query here which is working perfectly here. So I will write it down so that you can copy and test it in your own examples. Now if I will test the same method in MS SQL, then it might not work properly, because for MS SQL there is a method called ISNULL. So if null is for MySQL and ISNULL is for MS SQL. Let's try ISNULL here. So instead of if null let's try ISNULL here, and let's see whether we are getting the correct results or not. So it will be verified. Now you can see that incorrect parameter count in the call to native function ISNULL. So ISNULL has a different purpose here, and now it's the time to test ISNULL in SQL database, SQL Server database. So here we have a table here. If I'll select top 1000 rows here, so you will see that I have some values here, Mohan, Swan and Geeta, For name I have Mohan, Swahan and Geeta, and for email I have one null value here, right? So instead of this null value I want to see another result here, not entered. So I'll go and I'll type select name comma is null from FO is null test. This is the name of the table here, and I will select the correct database from here. So attendance is the database in which I have this table, and then I will execute this query, and instead of null you can say I have got not entered. Let's try if null here. So if null is not recognized built-in name. So here in MS SQL is null will work, is null function will work, and a function takes from 0 to n number of arguments. So this particular function takes two arguments here. First argument is the name of the column from which we want to remove null values, and instead of those null values what we want to enter here is not enter. We are actually not removing null values, we are replacing null values with this value. So this is the work of if null and is null function in SQL.